They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me. Like clay, I shall mold them in the furnace of war. I shall forge them. They shall be of iron will and steely sinew. In great armor I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons they will be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease. No sickness shall blight them. They shall have such tactics, strategies, and machines that no foe will best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror. They are the defenders of humanity. They are my Space Marines. And they shall know no fear.
Hello. Welcome, viewers. I am Shadow, your Dark Hostess Knight. Tonight, I bring you information that I have accumulated about tonight's topic, Space Marines, the Emperor's Angels themselves, and occasionally devils. Together, we will figure out what Space Marines are, how have they affected the Warhammer 40K galaxy, and how they are made. So, stock up on those bullet shells, don your ceramite power armor, and prepare to fight the enemies of man, and let's dive in. Space Marines, also known as Adeptus Astartes in the modern day of Warhammer 40K, previously known as the Legiones Astartes during the events of the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy, are the genetically enhanced and augmented super soldiers of the Imperium of Man. Created to replace the Thunder Warriors and formed of 20 different legions by the Emperor of Mankind, and an army of Terran scientists, including Amar Astarte, the scientist after whom the Astartes are named, the Astartes were made to carry out the Emperor's designs in the Great Crusade. Descended from 20, now 18 different gene lines of Primarchs while being immune to nearly every natural plague or disease and able to shrug off blows and wounds that would kill a standard human many times over, the Space Marines were the perfect weapon for the Emperor to use to take the galaxy for mankind. Beyond the standard human, some view the Astartes as legitimate demigods, clad in ceramite power armor and equipped with the very best weaponry the Imperium could offer. Space Marines became the forefront of the Imperial war machine and even the forces of chaos for millennia. Now in M42 they are broken up into different chapters and war bands, appearing in various forms from various colors, heraldries, cultures, and tactics. Seeing their first deployments in the destruction of remaining Thunder Warriors right before the start of the Great Crusade, Astartes would earn their epitaph, the Angels of Death, as entire legions would spearhead different crusading fleets, liberating and conquering system after system. The Space Marines would sweep aside any opposition to the Imperium, even going as far as being able to conquer more technologically advanced civilizations within a short time frame. Even when faced with Xenos threats such as Crave, the Rangda, and other foul horrors, the Emperor's Angels could eliminate these threats, if not outright exterminate them. With the start of the Horus Heresy, the Space Marine legions played a crucial role in the galactic-wide war, fighting battles from the massacres at Isfahan to the gates of Terra itself. With the Emperor interred on the Golden Throne after his duel with Horus the War Master, the Astartes would remain an image of imperial might for over 10,000 years, even with many falling to the temptations and machinations of the Dark Gods. In nearly every major war the Imperium has been in, the Angels of Death would play a significant part, like in the War of the Beast or the Badab War. Now, in the modern day of the setting, with the galaxy torn in twain, Space Marines, including the newer Primaris variant, have played a pivotal role in restabilizing the Imperium and the liberation of unfathomable systems from foes that would plague humanity, or inversely, in the case of the Astartes who have turned on the Imperium, pivotal in tearing the galaxy asunder. Space Marines result from rigorous training, careful selection, and extensive augmentations of implantations of several kinds of organs. Firstborn Space Marine neophytes are implanted with the gene seed of one of 18 different lines, though the Imperium usually refrains from utilizing the gene lines of traitor Primarchs. Then the neophyte will be implanted with 19 different organ implementations to be fully grown into a Space Marine. This process begins when a neophyte is around 10 years old and ends around the age of 18. Unfortunately, each implant carries significant risk to the neophyte, potentially resulting in bodily rejection of the implantation, and usually death for the unfortunate neophyte. Another reason why usually only a few who start as neophytes become fully fledged Marines in the end. So, let's run through each of these organs and what they do. The secondary heart, or the maintainer, is usually the first organ to be implanted. It increases blood supply and is a viable backup in the case that the primary heart is destroyed, or stops functioning. It is also said that the secondary heart can pump steroids and adrenaline into the primary heart as well. The osmodula, or the iron heart, is an implant that strengthens the neophyte's skeleton and bone structure once implanted, accelerating skeletal growth while absorbing minerals needed for the neophyte's diet. Once the process is complete after around 2 years, the neophyte's ribcage will be fused into a solid bone plate to protect organs better, and the neophyte will be typically around 7 feet tall in the end. The biscopia, or the forge of strength, is an implant that goes hand in hand with the osmodula, helping the development of the neophyte's muscles and skeleton by releasing growth hormones. The secondary function of this organ is to regulate the osmodula, preventing rampant skeletal growth. Next we have the hemastamen, also known as the blood maker, which adds more oxygen to the neophyte's bloodstream, and secondarily regulates both the osmodula and the biscopia. Lehrman's organ, or the healer, is implanted into the neophyte to quicken the clotting of wounds, resulting in the creation of scar tissue extremely fast, thus preventing most blood loss. This organ is one of the primary reasons why Space Marines are incredibly durable. The catalepsian node, or the unsleeping, is an implant that allows Astartes to enter a kind of trance-like half-sleep. It will enable a Space Marine to recharge, more or less, without needing to sleep, and keeps half the brain active enough for the Astartes to remain alert. The preemnor, also called the neutralizer, neutralizes toxins and poisons from the digestive tract, allowing Astartes to consume usually inedible substances. I'm looking at you, Space Wolves. The multi-lung, or the imbiber, is just a third lung. It is just a third lung. It allows for more oxygen to be taken in and helps filter out more toxins from the air. We then have the oculobe, also called the Eye of Vengeance. Quite the dramatic name. It is an organ that enhances an Astartes' eyesight and allows for better sight in low light environments. The lineman's ear, or also called the sentinel, is an organ that makes Space Marines immune to dizziness and motion sickness. It also allows an Astartes to filter out white noise and resist some sonic attacks, so they can pretty much tune out of literally any conversation. I need this. The Susan membrance, the hibernator, is an implant that allows for the mortally wounded Space Marine to enter a suspended animation, bringing metabolism to a standstill to await medical treatment. Then you have the melanchrome, is the implant that alters the pigment of the Astartes' skin, helping shield an Astartes from dangerous radiation or heat. The melanchrome is the reason why salamanders are the color of jet black. The oolitic kidney, also called the purifier, which is just another kidney, acts more or less like a super kidney in conjunction with the preemnor implant. It filters more toxins from the blood. However, this detoxification often results in the unconsciousness of the Astartes for a time. We then have the neuroglottis, the devourer, which is an implant that allows the user to biochemically taste or smell substances to their base components, allowing a Space Marine to determine if a substance is poisonous or not. Additionally, the organ provides for better tracking and hunting as well. The mucranoid, or the weaver, allows a Space Marine to sweat a mucus-like substance when activated by a chemical agent, helping to protect an Astartes from extremely frigid environments, even the cold vacuum of space. Then we come to the Becher's gland, also called the poison bite, which are two implants that turn a Space Marine saliva into a corrosive substance. This organ has stopped functioning for some gene lines, as in the case for Rogel Dorn's gene line. We then come to the progenoid glands, which are the true gene seeds, genetically administrating one of 18 different gene lines to the neophyte, granting the individual the genetics of one of the Primarchs, causing the neophyte to inherit certain traits from said Primarch. And last but not least, the black carapace, called the interface, is one of the most essential implants, creating an interlinked system between it, right under the skin, and the central nervous system. This implant allows an Astartes to wear power armor as if it was a second skin, allowing increased protection and enhanced maneuverability that an Astartes would not get without it. Firstborn Marines are, however, now not the only breed of Space Marine in Warhammer nowadays though, as when the Primarch Rabute Guilliman made his return to the galaxy, he brought along the Primaris Marines, a newer breed of Space Marine that were designed and created by Archmagos Dominus Belisarius Cawl. A wacky and zany dude. With this kind of new Astartes came 3 new organ implants that only the Primaris possessed. The Sinew Coils, or the Steel Within, is an extra layer of defense and durability, reinforcing the sinews of an Astartes with durametallic coil cables. This allows a Primaris Marine to achieve feats of strength and durability that not even a Firstborn Astartes could manage. The Magnificat, also called the Amplifier, is another implant that increases the body's growth by releasing growth hormones and other chemicals that intensify the function of several different organs, like the Biscopia or the Osmodula. And the last new organ is something called the Belisarian Furnace, or the Revitalizer, an organ that is connected to both hearts and remains dormant until times of extreme stress or severe damage, in which it releases a cocktail of stims to help rapidly regrow and recover from wounds, as if Space Marines weren't already hard enough to kill. As for my own thoughts on the super soldiers of the Imperium, I really like them. Shocker. I know. It is straightforward to see why James Workshop made the Astartes their poster boys for the entire setting. They really do embody the phrase, the Emperor's Angels of Death. There's so much room for different characters and chapters with all kinds of strength and flaws that really anybody can find or create their own ideal Space Marine. There's a lot to like and applaud about that. Giving someone their own agency to choose whatever flavor of Marine they wish gives a lot of appeal to the hobby as a whole and should be encouraged more. And I thoroughly recommend people try their hand at making their own homebrew for them. Making your own chapter or warband is really fun. Go ahead and do it. Now, would you survive a one-on-one fight with a Space Marine? Probably not. The Marine would fold anybody into a lawn chair. Unless you had a weapon capable of piercing armor and you were really lucky. The better question is, would your world be able to repel an assault by Space Marines? Again, you'd probably get folded like lawn chairs. However, it is absolutely possible that if a world is prepared enough with its military forces, fortifications, and heavier weaponry, an assault by Astartes can indeed be stopped in its tracks if not wholly repelled. However, I guess this would likely be on a case-by-case basis, and you will be heavily affected by what kind of Space Marine you are facing. You might want to start praying that you don't get the really, really bad ones. And that, dear viewer, was Space Marines. A huge thank you to Time for the quote voiceover. You voiced the Emperor amazingly. And thank you all for sticking around and learning a little bit about Warhammer's resident super soldiers with me tonight. Please let me know what your favorite Space Marine chapter is or warband. Let me know in the comments below. I wish you all a wonderful night, and hope to see you next time. Ave Dominus Nox.